Hey everyone, Miss Mac here. This video is going to be an introduction to the Pottery II assignment of 3 different forms and also using some underglaze techniques. So I'm going to talk about the assignment and then I'm going to demo the techniques. So the assignment for Pottery II is for you all to create 3 different forms. So I have a demo video up explaining how to pull out your walls to make a curve such as this one right here, and how to collar in such as this piece right here. So I really want to have you push yourself to start creating different forms instead of just straight up working on getting a little taller and making some different curves and shapes on the wheel. So you'll have 3 different forms, and I'm going to demo 3 different underglaze techniques. So this is what underglaze looks like. It looks just like paint, and it kind of goes on just like paint as well. It's a little different than the glazes we used in Pottery I. With the underglaze, it's kind of really cool because you can use it on leather hard projects, just like what stage they're at right here. So they haven't quite changed colors, but they're still really hard, and you can't really manipulate them. So at this stage is a great stage to add underglaze. Out of these 3 techniques, you need to experiment with at least one of them, okay? So at least trying out one technique out of the 3 that I show you, and I would like for at least 2 out of your 3 forms to have underglaze on them. So 2 out of your 3 forms are using some sort of underglaze. You can put the other glaze on top of the underglaze, and we can talk about different combinations when you're here. But again, experimenting with at least one technique and adding underglaze to at least 2 of your forms. The first technique that I'll show you is sgraffito. So I have some examples already here. So how sgraffito works is I'm going to get some of my paints uncovered here. So you're going to pick the color you want. We have a lovely guide of what they look like, and this is what they look like with just clear glaze over the top. And we can talk about some of the logistics of what to do after and the different options with the underglaze to make sure they're food safe. So again, I picked purple, this purple here, and I just brushed on a lump right here onto this kind of example mug. It's now completely dry. You can see that I'm wiping, there's nothing coming off. It's completely dry. And I'm going to I like to use our trimming tools, our loop tools for stuff like this. You can also experiment, and maybe I'll experiment with using this rib here, and we can make some different imprints in here. So you can create, I just have a blob of purple here that I did. You can see I did a gradient and carved in a little sunset. I also drew like a leaf shape and carved in. So right here on this purple, I'll experiment with using this to create some lines that take away so the clay body from underneath is exposed, resulting in a pretty finely detailed design. So this is just a way to get some texture, as well as getting like a nice design. You can cover your whole, there's this one, so the whole outside was covered in blue, and then some designs were carved out of it. So that's sgraffito, pretty straightforward. The big thing there is just making sure that it's dry before you start cutting in. The opposite of sgraffito is creating an inlay of the underglaze. So I'm going to do some carving on this guy. I have like this weird little orange here. I'm going to do some carving. So I made some marks on the sides of my orange. Kind of like it, maybe there's like some liquid flying from it. I don't know. It's like action lines that's like moving maybe. So next I'm going to take the color I choose that I want these, what I just cut out, to be. So this is really ideal, and I'll show you actually. So you take the color you want and then you can just pretty sloppily glob it on. So I added some purple, filling in those designs. I didn't worry about going out of the lines. I just slopped on that. So we're gonna wait until that's dry. As that's drying, I'll kind of show you. Once it's dry, you're gonna take a sponge and wipe away the excess. So right here I wrote hello. I carved in hello. And I sloppily put on some green and then wiped away the excess, so the green remained in those parts that were farther down. So this is a really great technique. I did this when it was still a little wet, so you can see that there's still some green that got washed away a little more than others. So it's really important that it gets all the way dry. So this is a really great technique for filling in really fine details. It would probably work really well using, maybe I'll test that too, using that rib and filling in these really small lines. Because that's like almost impossible, right, to fill in those lines with a tiny brush. So this way we can kind of sneak that underglaze in there. This purple one is pretty dry. There's still a little wet spot you can see, but we'll give it a go. So again, I'm taking away the excess using a sponge, getting it a little damp. And so you can see the purple really stayed inside of those grooves, giving it a little more fine detail, more fine than I would have gotten by just using a brush. It still was pretty wet, so it wiped away a little more than I would like. But we'll show and look at how finely detailed this guy can get. Alright, so I don't know if you can see that. Those lines are very, very fine, and I would never be able to get a brush inside there. So it's nice that I can wipe away the excess and the slip or the underglaze is still in there.